hello, Candyce Fiessel.
Hello, Dirk.
Fiessel like diesel, you told me. So there,
You got it.
yes.
You nailed it.
So I was referred to you by another friend, Lisa Beaulieu, and she loves your story, and she had so many positive things to say about you. And then we circled up a little bit last week, I think, and it seems like, and I'm going to turn it over to you here in a second, but your story kind of starts from a very I don't know if dark place or just a very a difficult situation. And I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about that, and we'll see how you kind of turn things around and really turned a bad thing into a positive thing for yourself and your family.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a story, we all have a story. The one that hits home to many people's hearts is an unexpected trauma where grown up in privilege. I had wonderful family, and I knew what I wanted to do with my career from a young age, and I started out um, learning about cash flow and buying my first home really young, and I was a very driven young woman. So I started out in the beauty industry, and I built a clientele very quickly and was able to travel and open my own salon at 21 years old. So that was something that I didn't foresee happening when I was in hair school, but then once I was in it and I went to Dale Carnegie programs and started the itch of personal and professional development, I just said, no, I have to go all in. This is too much fun. And it felt like a playground. So starting my own salon was wonderful. I was able to build a team that was incredible from a young age, but 8 months into my salon opening, I'd been in a long-term relationship, and we were ending our relationship. And unfortunately, he was experiencing addiction. He had suffered loss of a friend that had an overdose, and he was not in a good place. And so I was moving out into my own place, and we were parting ways. And I had let him back one more time to help me move things from our house that we shared together into my home. And he had stayed the night. And I don't remember anything feeling like it was going to be a problem. I don't remember feeling unsafe, but I remember feeling done with the relationship. And we watched a movie that night, and I really don't remember the rest. But I did not wake up at home. I woke up in the hospital, and he was the first person I asked for, because we had been together since I was 16 years old. I was 22 years old. My new business was 8 months old, and I'm waking up in this hospital wondering, why am I here and what happened? And I was left restrained, and from lack of oxygen to my brain, I suffered a central stroke. So what that means is that I literally had to relearn to walk and talk and eat and see. And my mom quit her job so she could support me and stay with me. And family was with me day and night. And I learned a lot about community. And I think that my whole world started out with being so focused on career and being driven and the way I spent my time. And I got this blessing of awareness for the gift of life at such a young age, and just it rerouted my whole future at 22. So that's the depth of my initial story of how I kind of got into entrepreneurship and unexpectedly grew from something that could have been victimized for the rest of my life, but that is not my future journey. It's anything but that. It's mostly strength from then on.
Yeah, it sounds like so there are people that you can go your whole life, and you, like you said, it sounds like you went to business school probably, or took some courses or learned about cash flow just independently, I guess.
Yeah.
And you could have just, I don't think cruised is the right word, but you could have worked hard your whole life, and that could have been your goal, and focused on that. It sounds like maybe along this way of this horrible challenge in your life that, you learned more about a way to build yourself along with the people around you, it sounds like, and work your way outward from there, as opposed to keeping it all here, here, here. I'm doing it. It's like becomes more of a we doing kind of thing.
Yeah, the healing journey is it can go so many different ways. It really it depends on that mindset and your surroundings and who your support system is. And I was blessed with tremendous support when it came to my professional life with my salon environment. I had teams that were working day and night to cover and keep the business running. An incredible family and friend resource. Our community was incredible, and that's where I got this deep investment into community, was after experiencing the love that you have from strangers. My story was quite public. It ended up in the front page of the newspaper, not using my name, but certain descriptions that would really lead everyone to details of my trauma that were horrifying to share with public. And so it forced me to face it. And instead of feeling shame that Saskatchewan is one of the top provinces and has been for many years in Canada for domestic violence. And now here I was at 22 falling into the statistic that I didn't even know existed, and now I was in it. So it gave me this deep sense of compassion, and I wanted to contribute to our community differently. So fashion shows and fundraisers, tying in this love for fashion and beauty into raising money and awareness for domestic violence and women that have and need safe space to flee from unhealthy situations. And no matter what each of our stories is, we need a safe place to land and a place to be vulnerable and open about what our stories were, and that is part of our past, and our past experiences do not exist in this moment. We have this ability to move forward and master that momentum, that we are not defined by our past. And I'm so grateful that I got that wisdom and that knowledge and that thought process and chose to not feel defined as a victim.
Yeah. So before we jump in, I want to get all the specifics on all that. But how long did it take you to recover? Because you said you had to relearn how to walk and
Mm-hmm.
and talk.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about, spinal and brain damage. It sounds like to me.
Wasn't spinal, but a central stroke is due from a hypoxia. Like, I'm still actually working getting my records just so I understand what happened to my body, because it was 2 days after the trauma that I had the stroke. So it was so unexpected to our family, and what happened is really no one really understands why your body responds that way. But in my case, yes, I had to go through tube feeding and a swallow test so I could finally start having mush food and, drinks instead of ice cubes. And it just, there was so many layers of that healing process that I guess I do jump past it often because I don't remember too much, right? It was a very traumatizing, and trauma does funny things. It blocks memory from you, and to this day, that's why I care so much about journaling and planning and documenting and taking photos and having scrapbooks, because I experienced what it felt like to not know or remember my past and certain things. It feels like someone's telling me a story from someone else's life, because the brain injury is so select, and I don't have crutches. I don't have a visible disability. So most people would be shocked to learn that I have this. I have a disability, that I had brain injury that was so severe, and I became so resilient towards it. So it happened in April. It was Good Friday, April 2006. And I believe by my 23rd birthday in August, I was starting to consider going back to work, like for people I knew, as my rehab. And it was like I was shaking of trying to apply colors, and it was people that I loved and trusted. So I wasn't going back to regular guests probably till the December holiday season that year. So considering the extent of my injuries, I was extremely resilient and very dedicated. That strong woman from that I defined in the beginning here, she was still very present, and she was not going to be butter bread at physio. For that was actually one of the most defining moments for me. It was buttering bread, and it was so frustrating because I looked like I was attacking this bread because I have no motion, like fine motor was just so challenging. And here I am, a hairstylist, which is max, fine motor that you could see. So I said, okay, I'm going to hit the gym where there's trainers that are trained in kinesiology and body and know your whole body. And I went crazy getting trained by fitness educators that train like the riders and the big athletes here. Mm-hmm. I said, this isn't going to be my story. And so I got my ass kicked, and it worked. It worked. I pushed hard, and I regained balance. I regained motor skills. My speech came. I was very monotoned. So I would kind of have to serenade myself to go up and down and remember to do those little things. And pronunciation was huge. Swallowing was not natural. Breathing still not natural. I don't breathe on that impulse, like natural thought process. I have to think about everything way more. So the number one thing is fatigue. The number one thing that they say is you're going to have to live a simple life was one of the messages that I had received from the hospital prior to leaving. So.
Well, you threw that out the window.
Yeah. There's nothing simple about my life from that day forward.
So you learned.
And I don't think it was spiteful.
You don't think it was what?
I don't think it came from like a spiteful, I'm going to show you. It happened organically that way. Passion fueled me. Life being such a gift, gratitude fueled me. The messages I experienced along the way of healing mainly was acceptance for my journey, saying, I accept that this is my story. I accept that, and I'm okay with that. That was hard to accept. That I mourned the loss of me. I was different. I was never going to be the same. I feel my whole body respond to that still to this day, because I'm not the same person I was born. And then after I could process that acceptance, I moved into forgiveness, and forgiveness is really where healing happened, because I let go of pain caused to me. I let go of, the thoughts of you could have, would have, should have done things differently. Forgiveness started to fuel me to get to that place of gratitude. And I lived from that place from then on.
That's amazing. I think that most of us would have, that's a struggle, right? Because you've been harmed in a very real way. So, wow. So when you started getting back to it, what were your first steps to get back on your feet with your own salon before you branched out into doing charity work for women, for Better Women's Shelters, or whatever you're doing? Or what was the beginning of all that?
Well, actually, before I was even doing hair again, I did an incredible fashion show fundraiser with tons of my clients helping me out behind the scenes, and getting models dressed and doing a runway show with local retailers. And it was just so incredible. And that was the first time I chose to speak. And it was all a safe community of support, and we were raising money. And that's the first time I had invited our local Sophia house out to hear my story. And I invited them and gave the money back to their cause and support them and helping other women. And it was very empowering. I felt very supported. I didn't feel defined by it. I felt like I was just seen. and that I was now allowed to move forward into this new chapter. And it was so healing to reach out and ask to be seen for what's happened in my life, and just welcome healing. Here, listen to other people's stories, because after you share yours, there's so many more people that can relate to you and have experienced things similar, or are inspired by or support others because they see someone else trying to leave, or patterns that are unsafe, and they get people more support faster. And that's the whole thing, is there's patterns that we can not see when we're in it that other people might see. And the more we talk about it, the more support that can happen. So those kind of happened for quite a few years. I was doing multiple different collaborations with fashion show fundraisers, and I did a day in the life of a hairdresser. So we hired actors, and they would act out like the bridezilla. They'd act out the potty dance, because like hairstylists are so busy all day, we don't take time to pee. And so we came up with the child's first haircut, all these fun things, and we raised money for Wascana Rehab, also that one, to get a bus so anyone that was in the facility could leave and go on different outings in this safe bus for people that had more longer term care in Wascana Rehab, which is where I had spent time in. So it's everything just came from purpose and passion and connection. And, you know, I think you see that so often with people that experience trauma, is they have this calling to give back once they've received, right? And I received so much support and love that I just had to give that back. And from those experiences, I was able to partner with two others to create Saskatchewan Fashion Week, which ran for 8 years. And it was such a huge asset to our whole community to bring our creative artists together. And I don't know that had I not sparked that interest through this giving back to community passion, had I not experienced that purposeful fashion show events, then it may not have ever led to something as big as Saskatchewan Fashion Week. So things just kept evolving, you know?
Yeah. Was Saskatchewan Fashion Week, was that a charity event for a week?
It was not a charity.
Okay.
It was a nonprofit
Okay.
to expose our community to the creative talent in our industries. But we did always give back money to either artists so that they could prolong or springboard their business even further. And there was lots of cultural support that we had put through for many different things. Each year it changed over all the 8 years.
So what kind of fashion did you have on Saskatchewan? Was it like, did you have people wearing like blow-up swimming pools and stuff like that? Or was it more like summer dresses, or was it somewhere in between?
We did always invite retailers, so we had a little bit of a variety, but no, I would say it was like a ticketed show. It was like a performance, and it was incredible. It was every year. We even had youth create their own lines. We're now fashion designers. We had so much mentorship happening. There was so many creative designers that came out of pulling that community together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Sophia House earlier. Is that a something for abused women? Or I know that
Yes, it's a women's shelter.
Okay.
And then there's the YWCA that also has multiple layers of women's shelters, and we're just working on building a project right now on to partner with them to help with my life planner tools that I designed just 2 years ago. So it's kind of continued to evolve as partnerships and relationships have built. I've always gone back to supporting those core experiences that I have connection to.
So what would violent partner tools consist of, or what is that? Is it teaching people the signs to look for and how to get out of that situation, or what does that consist of?
You know, my passion is actually in the move forward. So I share my story, but then I share the tools of how I move forward past that story. So resilience would be my primary topic, and acceptance, forgiveness, gratitude, getting to that place of living honestly and feeling seen and choosing you. There's so much support needed that sometimes there can be this guilt for the ask for help all the time.
Yeah.
Like every single day, ask for help. And I was this independent, strong woman. So I had to become comfortable. If I was going to lead and grow in entrepreneurship, I had to become comfortable that I was no longer that artist, that I was now a leader manager. And then I got comfortable in that leader manager role. And then I evolved into an expansive entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I kept creating because once I learned how valuable team environment is, I no longer felt like I had to wear all these hats of, okay, I'm the artist and I'm leader manager, and then at nighttime I'm being an entrepreneur, building more plans. And I started building teams, and everything just kept growing from there. As soon as you have like those people surrounding you, everything just rises and everyone's winning. So it's a feel good experience to grow, and giving that kind of hope to people that hear such an awful trauma story at such a young age, and not only young age, but such a young time of their first experience being risk taker in entrepreneurship. It's scary taking that much money from a bank. So giving people courage to say your story can strengthen you, and it can also drive you towards a purpose. And then that strength just explodes your whole potential in life. And it's quite the gift to share with people when they can see that they just needed to believe they aren't defined. They need to get past that victim state or get into the healing space of, I have a desire for more. So the inspiring side of pain,
Yeah.
when pain can drive us to purpose, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, I think you pointed out one of the most important tools for that can be forgiveness, right? Because if you can't let it go and you can't let that person go, it's going to be really difficult to move forward. And I like that message is great.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we don't all go through that kind of trauma, but we all go through stuff, right? And you have to, tomorrow's still coming, you know, so you better get there.
Yeah.
So you still have your salon open, right?
Yes, my salon will be 15 years in August. Okay. And I have 2 shareholding partners that are active in managing the salon day to day. So just in January, I formally resigned from behind the chair. I did stick with the industry for 18 years. I still did hair 1 day a week. Even after kids, I was continuing to go back for my play day, I called it. And then just this year, I've let go of that play day, and my hope is to evolve a little bit more in connecting through the workshops and sharing the tools that I created through my healing journey. So speaking and sharing my journey, sharing the tools, doing intimate workshops, and just helping people find that purpose and that healing.
Okay. So what are you doing now?
Well, my primary business is actually the Style Academy, which was formerly Richard's Beauty College. And that was the school that Lisa, who introduced us, and I went to. And so it's pretty serendipity that 1 year at Saskatchewan Fashion Week, the principal came in and I just said, are you ready to retire anytime soon? And my uncle's been in the industry. He's inspired me to go into this industry. So him and I purchased the school 6 years ago. Relocated, rebranded, went from 5 programs to 30 programs, and have really expanded the earning potential for creative entrepreneurs.
That's great.
So it's my daily playground, and I love what I do there. I love bringing people into an industry that offers healing for you as a service provider, but you offer healing to those that you serve. And it's really a fun industry. And we learned over COVID that we are essential. People really want, their hair and their body cared for. So it was pretty special to see how much people valued the careers that we choose. And it was a proud moment for me to share with the students.
Yeah. I think we've redefined what essential means, haven't we, in the last 4 months? Um, so you said you took the school from 6 programs to 30 programs. What does that mean? What were the programs before, and what are the ones you've added on now?
Well, ultimately, there's a service menu. So if you take hair, you have your hairdressing primary skills. Makeup, you offer makeup. Nails, you offer nails, and skin. So if you're doing facials and hair removal, that type of thing. So there's the core primary programs. But what we see in our industry are trends happening all the time, like the microblading, or we have laser hair removal, and that's just launching in the next few months here in September. We're getting trained. October we'll launch it. Dermaplaning. There's like threading, there's eyelash extensions, and everything modularly. So our goal is to help you build that service menu so you can expand your earning potential and give better quality service to your customer. So as a day maker, you come in and maybe get just one area done, but then they have 7 other things they can offer you in that time that you come in. So it's like
So I mean, so yeah, so you're getting, so when you say beauty school, you're talking, and I don't know if you call it beauty school. Sorry, I don't even know if that's the proper term, but you're going beginning to end. You're adding programs as you go. Yeah. So does it work the same way there? So in United States, most I don't know what's the word?
Hairstylist?
Thank you.
Yeah?
Like a hairstylist would be an independent contractor, and if they own their shop, great, but they may rent a space from a shop.
Yep.
And become a contractor. Is that work the same way there?
Yeah, we probably have a half and half type situation here where we see commission till you kind of establish your own. Some choose to go it on their own, some go in their homes. Primarily, I love to see a team environment and effort because I think that the customer experience is so much greater when you have a team supporting the customer experience. So that's kind of what I encourage. That's how our salon is ran. So we have front-end support. We can do health and dental benefits. We can do RSP matching. We can do so much as a company because we have a collective team. Whereas when you're running your own chair, you don't really get that same type of support, and you are booking, you're the artist, the lead manager, and the entrepreneur because it's your own chair. And so you have to do the marketing. You have to kind of build your own traffic flow and book your own appointments. And you might have reception, but then you're managing inventory.
Oh, I lost you. Hang on. Oh, there she is. Okay. I totally lost you there. I don't know what happened.
I didn't lose you at all. I heard you do the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because I pulled up my internet and see if it was working, and I will edit that out.
Right at the end, I got to see your head freeze, but that's
you were literally like this. You're going.
I do talk with my hands.
That's great.
It's more theatrical.
Okay, so at the school, you're teaching hairstylist or beautician. I don't know what word you can tell me what word to use, but it sounds like you're training everybody, right?
Yeah, hair, aesthetics, nails, makeup, you name it. It's all we can do. Barbering is huge trend right now, so we're seeing a ton of men come in wanting barbering, and it's really nice to see the diversity. We see gender neutral services being done. We see ethnic hair being elaborative in the different hair types and curly hair types, and it's just a very creative industry. The photo shoots that we're going on today with our makeup program were stunning. It's so creative because they have to come up with themes and visions, and it's like I can't help but call it my playground. So it's a wonderful, enjoyable industry to be in.
Yeah. Do you have a way of identifying like young entrepreneurs, or as you're teaching the classes, are you giving them tools to build their business? From as opposed to, because you got to go find people, right? But what do you do after you find the people, and how do you deal with those kind of education, I guess?
Well, there wasn't a personal professional development program when I had started. So that, of course, piqued my interest because my whole journey as an entrepreneur started from Dale Carnegie and learning how to win friends, influence people, how to stop worrying, start living. Like those were my core books. And then 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then I went into Rich Dad Poor Dad, learning about financing, cash flow quadrant. And I became confident and comfortable in who I was and what I wanted and how I could influence and impact other people's lives for the positive for them. And as I worked on me, I noticed I was supporting others and growing people. So success to me became about growing people and passing that kind of knowledge on and seeing people like sit up differently, not only because you did their hair beautiful, but you made them feel beautiful inside. And that's the gift as a day maker in the salon, spa, beauty industry that you have. So when we can instill that value, not just in skills, but in who you are and how you connect with people at that start of your program, it's incredible. So we see a lot of confidence growth. We see a ton of excitement for entrepreneurship from a young early stage, but the highest quality that we see in the ones that succeed the most is follow through. They are consistent to showing up, they're consistent to following through, they go above and beyond, they're not afraid to ask for help, they do not know it all, they're the first to see what they could improve on. And those types of personalities, they can take feedback and grow from it and not feel the ego taking over at such an early stage in an industry that's forever learning, forever evolving, forever growing. Every set of hair or face that you do is going to be a new canvas, a different experience. So that confidence is important, but the connection and communication and being able to take feedback, critical feedback, is what I see as a top pattern of the most successful professionals in our industry and even just in general, people that I see succeeding have that confidence and connection with people.
Yeah, I think that's true across the board, and I can really feel your energy for people come across. But if you're able to give feedback effectively and also accept feedback to you and put that into practice, that's really a sign of, I don't know if maturity is the right word or growth or whatever, but it's definitely a great tool to have to be able to move forward and not only advance your career, but advance who you are as a person. And
Yeah.
then everything kind of builds around that, as opposed to, well, I made, $50,000 last year and this year I made $55,000. So I'm advancing. It's like, well, yeah, but are you advancing as a person in the meantime?
That's that brings us to why My Life Planner exists. Is I got this experience to teach in a school and an industry I love, and I started naturally building a curriculum outline that would work for students in our industry. But I couldn't just focus on professional. I had to go into the personal, because if you don't have the strong foundation of you, how do you ever have and hit goals professionally if you don't have a strong pattern of healthy rituals in your personal life? You're coming in with an empty tank every day to work. You're not going to achieve much in that professional world. So I neutralized the tools I created through that experience of building a curriculum, and I called it My Life Planner. And that's kind of where those personal professional tools live. And this year it evolved into a journal also that prompts the healing and growth journeys, and like the highlight reel, going back to like that memory trigger of like, what the heck happened this last 2 months? Like, I can't write it out, but I can point format remember. And that's all about triggering memory, because again, going back to the beginning of my story, those are all life experiences I had that mean a lot to me now. So I'm choosing to share them with the world, be vulnerable, be open, and get that experience of connection with people through my life experiences. And My Life Planner tools are truly birthed from those life experiences.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about so you've got a set of planners and journals, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Tell me so do you just hand those out, or is there a whole, like, is there a program that goes with that, or what's the story there?
There, I have examples and the foundations of our planners. So our planners are pretty extensive in setting you up for an incredible year. I think that's their biggest points of difference. They're birthed from a soul connection to personal development of, 18 years now that I've just compassionately learned from Tony Robbins. I've been to so many wonderful events that just were life changing. And not everyone gets the gift of going to life-changing events. It's a massive investment, usually on a bucket list, that sometimes people don't get to go to, where this is like scaled back to, a planner you can purchase as a gift to yourself or someone you care about. And those first foundational tools help you build daily rituals. And it gives you an example. So here's an example of what a daily ritual would look like. So you've never even learned about those before. Then here's a blank canvas for you to fill out your own and customize them to what works for you and your lifestyle and your season of life that you're in. So mine, it can be simply as smiling first thing when I wake up, and the power of I am, love, faith, gratitude, joy. And then I go in through gratitude. I go to forgiveness. So I never carry negative weight into my day because I do it every morning. And then I set an intention for the day. So there's my mindset ritual that is so powerful that I couldn't go through not doing that experience. That's my me time, especially after having kids. It's just like me before doing that, going to say hi to my morning kids is a different person than me doing this and then going and serving my day. And then I add some fitness and body movement into that. So introducing the opportunity of having rituals that are healthy, setting out things to look forward to for your year. And it's basically an invitation to changing patterns that haven't been serving you and enhancing things in your life to feel good daily and not have more to do. It's not about to-do lists and having more. It's actually about simplifying your life and being more purposeful and appreciating what already exists versus chasing something that you haven't experienced yet. Seeing it on paper as a goal, but not feeling the pressure of how you're going to get there. Just taking appreciation for each step along the way.
You're kind of building your own personal accountability there, right? Like my day, because I wake up, I'll spend 30 minutes meditating or in silence or whatever, whoever, jogging.
Yeah, where you need that day.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got the list out, so you hold yourself accountable to it. So how do you present that? Do you bring people into a classroom setting, or are there
I can,
videos?
but they're retailable online and
Okay.
in stores. So we sell them in retail stores. We sell them on our online store, mylifeplanner.ca. There's leadership editions. They're more compact that we're seeing whole companies and teams use. They'll buy them as a gift for the whole team, and then they'll have us come in virtually or in person, and we'll kind of teach the team how to use it as a tool for conversation, because more and more workplaces care a lot about that personal mental health. It's not a hidden discussion anymore. We know that our employees that are coming with a great mindset, feeling healthy within, are going to serve the company better. So I think that's another point of difference to our leadership edition planners, is that they do humanize your corporate culture and give you a ritual or like language to connect on, because they have monthly habits that you could communicate with in your team. And then there's a soul edition. It's coiled. It's more like colorful and more experiential for that connection. And I'll share my mom's story. She's retired, and when I gifted it to her, she was just like, well, like, what do I have to plan? Like, I'm retired. I said, well, isn't that what we all work so hard for, is to be retired one day? Like, this should be you serving your purpose daily. What is that? And she kind of was like, well, I don't know. And so we went through all the categories, And it encouraged her to get into podcasts and keep learning. It encouraged her to make quality time with her friends and to really live life differently when it came to her mental health and her physical health, her connection and play with people. There's financial planning in there. So yes, you're retired, but what are you going to do to expand that portfolio? Or do you have your will and estate plan complete? And just more of an invitation monthly to continue to grow personally and professionally. And professionally, as a retired woman, she's more connected to giving back in a community where she wasn't able to didn't have the time to before.
Right.
So that was kind of that. And then the journals. And the journals are a little bit more of a prompt for about 4 pages. Every 20 pages, it prompts you to try something new. And the rest of them are either draw, design. There's a soul flow page that's more of a blank canvas, and then a lined page for more organized thoughts. So it's 3 products in total and multiple different colors. And I share them virtually. I share them in intimate workshops, or they're just retailable, and they can self-teach you through the foundational tools with examples.
That's awesome. And your mom's retirement is a great example, because we all, like you said, we all work so hard to retire someday, and you get there, and I haven't been there, but I know I've heard stories of people, like, they look around and go, and after a week of sitting there watching TV, like, and now what? So you got to have some, you've got to have meaning and purpose and things that you're looking to do and play. So yeah, it's a really great example. So that's mylifeplanner.ca. Is that where it is?
You got it.
Cool. Awesome. So what are you doing? So do you have any charitable things going on, or what are you working with right now, or what do you have coming up in the future for that?
I'm just initiating the process of working with the YWCA. Unfortunately, I believe the last meeting I had with her is a 213% increase by from last March to this March, pre-COVID even, in domestic and sexual violence. So that hit me in the heart, and I think that there's more that I can do when it comes to supporting the conversation, especially as a woman that's achieved success and experienced growth in after a trauma. I think that I have this ability to offer hope. So I'm committed. I think that my life was saved for a reason, that I'm here to continue to share, and I have this purpose within me. So that's what I'm going to be doing this year, is evolving a soul flow workshop, offering it to women 2 to 3 times a year, and continuing to connect with that through the YWCA. And there are some other ones that I'm trying to engage, but I haven't done yet, but mostly for acquired brain injury families, having someone in a car accident or go through a trauma and they come home different, how to navigate that experience from maybe a place of awareness to my journey through it, and how it felt for people to do everything for me versus give me a chance of independence. It's appreciated, but sometimes you need the chance to, if it looks hard for me to do it, it's still like such a great experience to be able to do it myself. Yes, you could do it 10 times easier than me and different, but it's still that place of independence and empowerment, and to not feel like we can't ask for that. So speaking to the families and speaking to those who are embarking on a healing journey through trauma and disabilities and brain injuries, where they have to reconnect themselves again. Your body is different. Your mind is different. Your feelings and emotions, you respond and react different. Your body reacts different. You are forever different. So that's another area that I'm looking to engage with, is those who have struggled through brain injuries.
That's awesome. It's just really cool to see that you're taking your personal experience with domestic violence and brain injuries and applying it directly to how you're helping other people get through that. And that's incredible. And I know that I went on a trip I was a youth minister for a brief period of time, and went on a trip with my youth group to a battered women's shelter in a small town here in Missouri, just out of the way, where they can hide someone in their family for, whatever period of time until it's safe for them to resume it or whatever is going on.
Yeah,
And I never even thought about what you're talking about is, hey, yeah, you have this immediate need of safety, right? But then there's a long-term need for the victim and possibly the children who are also victims to move forward.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's where you're really focused. That's really
Right.
exciting to hear because it's not something you think about. Yeah.
Yeah. That mastering the momentum of moving forward, that move forward movement is just that to me screams resilience. And that allows you to live honestly, to choose yourself. You know you deserve it. And there's just a fire that gets lit in women, especially. I think men too. Men need nurturing. Men need to tap in and feel comfortable in that feminine side of themselves, because we all have a masculine and feminine side to us. So I think it's also important for men that have experienced trauma or abuse that there's so much out there, and there's opportunity of sharing stories and learning from each other and being open and vulnerable in a safe space. And so I hope to just continue to create those open places.
So what are some words of wisdom, or what would your parting shots be? I think this is all really awesome. Your stories make me not only starting your own businesses, but really, starting your own charities, pushing forward, giving to people the way that people gave to you. So what would you say is like a summary, or just what do you want to say to everybody?
The greatest mantra that served me the most is my life is a gift. Um, it's the most grounding thing to say out loud, and live in gratitude, because that gift of life is really precious, and how we treat ourselves and how we treat others is such a big part of what we end up receiving in life. So we're all here for a reason. We all have gifts that are here to share. We are blessed, and I think that as we get to evolve as humans and connect with others, we just keep getting to experience even more blessings. So be you, be true to you, and live honestly, and experience that gift.
That is awesome. Thanks, Candice. I am inspired talking to you. So thanks for spending your time with me here just for a little bit, about an hour. And wow, what a great story. So thank you so much.
Thank you.